Okay, summer's here and we're now ready to start growing. So what we're going to be doing in this video is to show you how to prepare the grow boxes you used from last year and get them ready to start growing new produce. The first step, of course, is to remove the plastic covering. Now you need to remember where you placed your plant food the previous season. Now begin removing the potting mix that's on top of the plant food from the previous year. As you remove the potting mix, pay close attention to the coloring of the potting mix as you dig. You notice how it's a little yellowish brown towards the top? That's the plant food. Now in this video, you'll notice that the plant food is a little yellow brown. It's not always going to be that color. It really depends on a number of factors. How moist is the decomposed plant food? What kind of decomposed plant food was it that you were using the previous year? So the key thing for you to remember is you as a gardener, as you're going down and removing that potting mix, you're going to notice a change of color that's going to be the first clue to you found the potting mix. Not only will you see a change of color, but you'll also notice a change of texture. So you will definitely know you have gone past the potting mix and are now on top of the plant food. Okay, so now we have removed the old potting mix from on top of last year's plant food. Now remove all the old plant food from within this grow box. All of it. Personally, I like to recycle it. I put it in an old container and I fill it up and I just allow the rain to slowly wash away all the salt buildup. Now spread out your potting mix evenly. You don't always have to do this, but what I'm doing is I'm actually filling the potting mix and to see if it needs to be aerated, if I need to start breaking it up loose. Now take your old potting mix and put it back inside the grow system. You want to put it in the center. My objective is to have a small mound in the center that tapers to the edge of the grow system. Now depending on what you grow in your grow box will determine on the placement of where you're going to put your plant food. This particular grow system, I'm going to have my tomatoes in the back. So I'm going to have my plant food in the middle because in the very front I'm going to have some plants that tomatoes love to grow next to. These fortunate tomatoes will actually be growing next to basil. Because we're growing tomatoes in the back and basil in the front, we know that we want our plant food in the center. And of course, as always, we'll be using an organic plant food. This particular 18-gallon, I'll be using 3 cups. Personally, after I put my plant food down, I like to take some of the potting mix and cover up the plant food. In the past, I've done both, where I've buried them with potting mix, or I've just not buried them and put the plastic covering on top. I have noticed that the plants that are growing in the grow container that have the plant food buried tend to recuperate quicker and start their growth much faster. Once again, we want to make sure that the center has a small mound that tapers off towards the edges. So feel free to add more potting mix on top until you get that small mound. Now that we have our slight mound, we're going to complete this system by covering it with our plastic. Do not skip this part. I've seen a lot of videos, a lot of people discussing where they don't even put the plastic on, and yes, your plants will grow depending on what kind of medium that you grew in it. Keep in mind that this particular system here, we're not using a potting mix that has a lot of nutrients in it. We're providing the nutrients that the plant needs with the plant food that we're putting on top. So this part of the system is vital. You got to have that plastic covering. Now depending on what kind of covering that you're using, you can recycle it year after year. This particular covering I'm using I got from Home Depot, and it is relatively thick. So I've had no problem recycling it each year. Okay, let's tie this plastic in place. I'm going to be using twine. Now you can use whatever you have on hand. I've even seen people use used pantyhose. Some of my other systems I've used bungee cords. They all work fine. So this is what you're going to do every year to get your grow system ready for the new grow season. My preparation starts in March so that I'm ready to plant as soon as the weather permits it. Thank you all very much for watching this video. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed it and that maybe you learned something from it. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll have more videos in the future.